Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackman.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, and a deflect away, and it is picked off by Will Blackman, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs. It's covered in the end zone by Will Blackman for a Green Bay touchdown.
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. I'm Rick Bucher. You can read my stuff on Bleacher Report. You can find me on Twitter at Rick Bucher. He is Super Bowl champ Will Blackman. You can find him on Twitter at Will Blackman. You can find him on the NFL Network as well. And you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. All right, number of things we need to get to. And let's begin with the NFL Combine, which you are watching avidly.
I just coached the Under Armour high school combine this weekend, so I am combined up.
I bet. And that experience, like, have you done anything similar to this before?
In terms of this coaching?
Yeah.
Actually, I have my own. As a matter of fact, I had my own high school combine last year in Warwick, Rhode Island, at Bishop Hendricken High School, the high school I went to. We had our first combine there, just to kind of give guys the opportunity I had. I went to a lot of camps and combines in high school, and that's how I got noticed.
Were there any Will Blackmans out there? Did you see anybody out there that you went, you know what, reminds me a little of myself?
Nah, but there was. Listen, I'm now an assistant coach at San Juan Hills High School here, right, in San Juan Capistrano, and they have a kid there named Joey Hobart. He's the son of Billy Joe Hobart, quarterback for UW, 1991 national team. About 5'10", maybe 180, but this kid is just an animal. And he's a receiver, and I asked these guys, like, hey, you gotta invite him to the camp. You gotta invite him. And I haven't heard anything, so I didn't know he was coming. And once I found out he was going to show up to this Under Armour camp, and this camp right here was all 4- and 5-star kids. And Joey just got offered by San Jose State and BYU about a couple weeks ago. So he shows up, and I just got goosebumps. I'm like, dude, these kids have no idea, because they're gonna see this kid. He's in pretty good shape. A white kid receiver with regular old school short haircut, and they have no idea. And he lit it up.
Nice. Very
lit
nice.
It up. Yeah. So there were. I don't know if there were any Will Blackmans, but you know what though? I can say similar, because I showed up to a camp. Nobody knew who I was. I was from Rhode Island. Everyone was like, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I lit it up. So.
It is. It's amazing how many times I see that on a variety of levels. Like, I've seen it with my kids walking into a gym. My son played on a team, and this is 8th grade, 9th grade, or whatever. And they didn't have any size on their team, but they executed. They could all shoot, and they'd walk in and they'd see the other team's lining up, and they got 6'2", 6'3" kids, and they're thinking,
right, dunking in layup lines, right?
We're gonna punk these guys, and then next thing they know, they got beat by 20, and you could see through the first quarters, they're pressing us, and we can't handle. It was.
So the MVP of our camp, one of them was Chad Johnson Jr.
Okay.
Ocho Cinco's son, and. Earlier today, I tweeted out, I'm so proud of Joey. And then Chad Jr. retweeted. He's like, Joey is for real good. He's nice.
Nice.
Confirmed. And what's interesting too, really quick, the guy who runs this, there's 3 guys. Billy Tucker, he works for Under Armour and he's the director. You have Francois, another guy, and there's a program called 3-Step, and they actually run these combines for any brand. And the guy who runs it, his name is Jason Witten. Okay. And Jason Witten is the same guy who saw me at the Boston College camp and gave me my very first offer. Small world.
Indeed. This is the part when it comes to the combine, especially, there's two parts here. The first part is that there's an allure and attraction to see purely gifted physical athletes go up against the clock or go up against the measurements and like move the bar. There's something exciting and thrilling about that. I think it's just the joy of seeing what the human, physique is capable of. On the other hand, it also feels incredibly dehumanizing and simplistic to think that these measurements are a reflection of who a guy is playing a sport. And especially if you're in that, like you're just being measured by a 40 time. Not everybody does it, and I'm sure smart people don't do it, but like that's the definition of who somebody is. And I saw you tweeting out about, forget who it was, Metcalf maybe, who put up, it is of linebacker size, putting up a crazy 40 time. And I'm thinking, yeah, it was impressive. It was impressive watching him run. And at the same time, like, how many misses are there because we fall in love with a 40 time or we fall in love with a measurement and it's not reflective of whether the guy can play or not?
The old Oakland Raiders. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Or the Bengals with John Ross. Now, John Ross may end up being better. He was injured his first year, but it was like, this dude had the fastest time. Everybody got all excited
that
they got a wide receiver with the fastest time. And I'm thinking, you still have to run routes. You still have to be able to catch it.
But he was a good football player at Washington. That's the one thing about it, But I think it just confirmed, hey, we have AJ, we have Boyd. We need another guy who just a burner, And maybe that was somebody they had on their list, and that just confirmed it. Who knows? I don't know if maybe somebody in there stood on the table for him. Who knows?
Maybe Marvin was asleep and they made that decision.
Nah, he wasn't asleep in the first round, I'll tell you that. They had to score to save his job. But I don't know. I mean, you have Matt Jones, quarterback at where did he go, to Arkansas? Is that where he went? And he ran a 4.3 at 6'5". Wow. And end up going first round as a receiver to the Jaguars. Never heard from him again. Because they just were like, hey, we can do something with this,
And he also played for the Cincinnati Bengals, of course.
Matt Jones went up there?
Yeah. 2005 draft, you're right. 2005 draft, he was taken by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, 6'6", ran sub 4. Yeah. Crazy.
From
obviously everyone knows Mike Mamula. Mm-hmm. Big DN running, like they said, 4.5. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. The one thing about this is either the guy has good tape, and it just confirm. They just want to confirm. You hear a lot of talk from scouts or analysts or evaluators. Can he run? Yeah, he has good tape, but can he for real run?
Okay, but there is, as we know, and the football term, in soccer it was, you have speed and then you have technical speed. And it's a little bit different in soccer because you're dealing with a ball. Like, how quick are you with the ball? You can run all out, but the fact of the matter is, at some point you have to meet up. If you're using that speed, if you're not just a defender, if you're an attacker, at some point you have to meet up with the ball, and you have to be able to do something with it, which now is, can you go at speed? What speed can you go while manipulating the ball? And I would imagine it's the same with a receiver or even a defensive back. Like, okay, you got pure speed, but can you take the right angles? Can you attack the ball? What can you do as far as your timing, everything? It feels like that's a good baseline, but right. I just feel at times like we become intoxicated with the pure speed. And I'll put it this way, like when you're talking about a wide receiver and even a stretch wide receiver, like what's the number that you need to have to be a stretch wide receiver. And just in pure, like, you don't have to be the fastest, but this is about what you need to be able to function at that position and then have everything else.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be just based off measurables, a 4 for a guy. But sometimes the tape will tell the difference, you know? So I look at somebody, once again, to your point, in terms of watching the tape versus what they actually run. When Anquan Boldin was at Florida State, he was unreal, right? Mm-hmm. And I think they just wanted to know, you know, he was a first-round talent, but can he run? So he went to the combine and ran, you know, like mid 4.7s.
Right. Which probably dropped him.
Yeah, he still got picked up in the second round.
Right.
You know,
but not from where he was when people first viewed him, when they watched him play.
Right. Yeah. I mean, probably. And then, it goes on to be Rookie of the Year. I think he went to the Pro Bowl as a rookie. I can't remember what it was. I know he broke like damn near every rookie receiving record when he got there. But yeah, just like that. So it's either confirmation or they just want to see, or there are some guys who, you know, you don't know. Could be from a small school.
Right.
Like Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie went to a small school. He was a really good player. He stood out in a lot of all-star games. I think he went to East-West Shrine and then went to the Senior Bowl, played well, and then went to the Combine and, like, lit it up. So he went first round. So it helps. I always tell people, man, if you can run, you will always get an opportunity.
Sure, for sure. Bolden, by the way, was the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. All right. One last thing. You walked by it, and I don't want to spend any more time on this than we already have. But the whole, I mentioned it, the dehumanizing factor, the objectivity, we've talked about this before, but kind of that being reduced. Because you said, I wish I had trained for the Combine.
Yeah.
So you didn't train for the Combine.
So what I did was I went to Orlando. My agent sent me to Orlando. Tom Shaw was down there training guys. My roommate at the time was Devin Hester. It was me, Devin Hester, Jay Cutler, Greg Jennings, a bunch of us down there. And I probably worked out for about a week or two. And the reason is because that was during my winter vacation. I still went back to finish school.
Okay.
So most of these guys, they leave.
Right, they're done.
Yeah, they're done. They're done. Either they left early, maybe they're a fifth-year guy, or maybe they're just like, I'm not just going to finish.
Yeah, they're not worried about that degree.
Yeah, I'm like, I made it this far, dude. I'm going to walk, okay? Yeah. I'm getting my damn degree. So I didn't fully train like guys are right now. You know, I'm down here in Orange County. Ryan Flaherty, the senior director at Nike, he's training a bunch of guys here. Gavin McMillan, who trained me at Sports Science Lab, he's training guys here. And it's just a crazy full program. And yeah, I say I wish I did that.
So why didn't you? I would think
because I didn't want to. I didn't stay. I didn't want to stay.
I know, but so you had aspirations. You knew you were pretty. Okay, you knew you were pretty good.
Let me put it like this: I didn't not work out.
Right.
I didn't just sit there and didn't do anything. But I'm saying, like, in terms of an actual full training program,
right,
like the guys are doing right now,
honing yourself just for the Combine, making that your be all and your end all.
Yeah.
You were getting ready for it, but not with the same kind of laser focus that maybe some other guys did. Like they just
I wasn't getting ready for it with the same, you know, being watched and monitored in a program where I walk in and everything's laid out. I mean, these dudes walk in there, they got their vitamins right there. They walk out, they got their protein shakes right there. They got their workout. Right. Somebody's walking them through every workout.
Right.
That's what I mean.
So the whole part
I still did well, though. I still did pretty well.
No doubt. And you're probably thinking, man, I could have.
But that's why I said that, though, because I'm like, okay, I didn't train. I ran a 4.41. So I jumped 40-inch vertical.
So you more than anybody, you're going back. You're more than just a football player. And you're more than just a football player. You're more than just a guy who's fast. You're more than just a guy who can fit the measurables to play in the NFL. And maybe it doesn't feel that way when you're in it. But, you know, some people call it the underwear Olympics. Like, you're really just not a piece of meat, but you're an asset. Like, you're an element. And I mean, did you feel any of that? Did you ever like, man, this is a little degrading the way
I didn't look at it. Yeah, I didn't look at it as degrading. It was very uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable to be on a scale in your underwear in front of 300 people taking notes.
Yeah.
But this is combat sports, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
This is a physical combat sport, and they need to see who they're going to spend 6, 7, 8 figures on.
Yeah. You're a gladiator.
I just watched a UFC fight yesterday.
Yeah.
And Friday they had their weigh-ins.
Yeah. No, I get it.
You know?
And actually,
just spend your money on.
And actually, if you've done the work and you're fit and you're like, okay,
right.
bring it on.
Yeah, what's up?
I can't wait to show you what I got.
The worst part, that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was the physicals. I'm literally sitting on a hospital table. There are 32 doctors.
What?
Grabbing limbs, I had to do a shoulder test because I had a couple shoulder separations in college.
Uh-huh.
And every doctor wanted to do a test, a strength test. So by the time I got to Dr. 32, I had nothing left. And then they have the nerve to ask me, "Are you gonna bench press?" I said, "Hell no, I'm not gonna bench press. I can't bench. My shoulders are jacked up."
So what was the strength test that they were putting you through?
Just to see my shoulders, you know.
So just a resistance thing?
Yeah, a resistance strength test, basically. You know, then I had to go and take all these MRIs, and it was just unreal. I'm like, dude, I just felt violated on that table.
I bet. All right. Some of the other news that's going on. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they might actually have their quarterback.
They are one quarterback away. They are one Nick Foles away. And I said earlier this year, either Foles or Flacco. One of them two.
Who do you expect to have more success between Flacco and now that it's been settled? Foles and if Foles ends up with the Jags,
I think Foles. You know, I think they're gonna go. I don't know what they're going to do actually in the draft. They need to probably go interior, maybe get another offensive weapon receiver-wise. They still need a clear-cut number one receiver. They don't have that yet. They do have Carlos Hyde and then Fournette coming back for running backs. They still got that defense, everyone there together. And this is it. This is the year, not just for those players, but for everybody in that building.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Shah Khan and Coughlin, they are not messing around.
Is there any reason to think that it's a year too late?
No, because they never had a quarterback yet.
I get that. But, you know, time is not standing still for the rest of this team.
It's not. Right. And the Colts already caught up.
Right. So that's my question. It's like, did they miss their win? Like last year that was the win. Take that next step.
Right. Because the Titans they played well. It's been interesting how they are going to be. Houston played well.
Yes. Colts
played awesome. So now that division used to be not so great.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, everyone is so much closer now.
So do you still buy that with Nick Foles, the Jags come out on top, or they should be the favorite?
I say with Nick Foles, they will be a completely different team. Now I still favor the Colts. This is going to be a massive offseason for them, free agency and the draft.
Yeah.
Obviously, they had a great draft last year, so Chris Ballard, the general manager, knows what he's doing. Yeah. But I feel like you're going to get a quarterback, and I know Coughlin's going to want a Super Bowl MVP quarterback.
How much does not having the question about Andrew Luck change just the way they can plan coming into this season?
It's great. I mean, they planned coming into this past season in terms of living his reps, seeing where he is, and it's like, hey, at the end of the day, we don't need to overload him, work him, destroy his shoulder. You know, we'll let him come in when he's ready, and they literally have done everything on schedule, and it worked out. So I still feel like they planned well last year with the draft. What are we gonna do? We're gonna protect him.
Yeah,
we need a stud on defense in the middle, and they got him too.
I forgot to mention one of the other elements when it came to the combine was the owner of the Dallas Cowboys letting us know, Jerry Jones, that he has been to 30 combines but he does not have another 30 in him.
He needs to win now, damn
Yes.
it.
Well, although I've always had the feeling, like I've never felt like Jerry Jones wasn't trying, like he was taking an off year, right?
Right.
It just, for whatever reason, their planning was never good. That said, how much of a step forward do you think they can take this coming season? Do you go into the season saying they're title contenders?
Absolutely. No question about it.
Really?
That's why Witten came back. Witten didn't come back. He didn't come back just to play another season. He came back because they have a number one receiver. Because Dak Prescott looks way better. Because the defense is playing extremely well. Somebody put he came back because Scott Linehan left. And that was so messed. They need it. I'm sorry. However they can do it. Got to get Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
Got to get Earl Thomas.
Yeah. Defensively, though, is that enough? That's where
it's absolutely enough because they're going to find some way to retain DeMarcus Lawrence.
Okay.
They have a stud pass rusher. They have two outstanding linebackers in Vander Esch and Smith. And they have a really motivated and smart secondary with Chris Rashad back there helping them. And if they get Earl, they will now have a for real game changer, difference maker back there. So they have somebody who can change the game on all three levels on defense.
I felt so much of when they were on and when they were off, especially defensively, had to do with the health of Sean Lee.
It did because I felt like they respect him so much that they didn't just want to have him just put him down. You know, because it was interesting in that game versus the Rams where they were rotating him and Van Der Esch. Mm-hmm. I know they were like, hey, we're going to do what we can. You know, I'm sure Sean's the leader there. They love him, but Van Der Esch is ready to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, that's the thing. You can be as talented as you are, but if you're not available, that's a problem.
Well, yeah.
There are a lot of guys who aren't as talented as others, but they are available more.
Right.
Therefore, those guys are getting paid because they're available.
Right.
You have more opportunities to make plays to get paid.
Good point. Speaking of Jason Witten, he didn't just go back to the Cowboys. He left Monday Night Football in order to go back and play for the Cowboys. And I have to tell you, it just feels... I don't know that I will ever look at Jason Witten quite the same way. I didn't really know who he was beforehand. But this feels to me like someone got into water that was too deep, and now he's getting out. Rather than try to swim, he's going back to what's familiar for him. And it raises the question, okay, why did you retire in the first place? Like, there are more questions than answers in him making this decision. And everybody has the right to do whatever it is that they need to do. But I just look at how he struggled and yet was given plenty of opportunity. And in some people's minds, he made progress. I would say that's true. He made progress. But it just feels like, dude, you were handed one of the plum assignments in all of the football broadcasting world, and you didn't do all that well, and you decided, you know what, I'm going to go back and play football again. It doesn't sit right with me, and I don't know, not taking on the challenge, I guess is what it is.
Well, I think he took on the challenge. He got thrown in that fire.
Okay,
calling a game is a whole different ball game.
Hello, Steve Smith.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You have to be on it, man.
Yeah.
And right, he hasn't done it before, and they went on a whim. They said, "Hey, we're going to get a Dallas Cowboy," and we threw him in there.
Yeah,
the only thing with him is there were some times where he was trying to be Tony.
Yeah.
I respect the fact he went in there. He finished the season, and then he's like, "This ain't for me, man."
Yeah. So you don't think he goes back? You don't think he goes back to broadcasting? Because he's not going to play forever.
I think he will eventually, but it won't be Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting who gives him a shot next and at what level.
Who knows, you know? But it was good for him, and he got a year to rest his body.
Yeah.
You know? And they
Although that can be misleading.
No.
Yes, it can. You get a year away from the game. I can't tell you how many guys I know who get away from the game for a year and then they miss it and they're like, man, I feel better than ever. I feel good. And it's like, yeah, you feel good until you have to go through the grind and then you realize this is why I retired.
He's not going to go through it. They're going to take care of him. Are you kidding me?
Well, I'm not saying he's going to have to like make the grade in training camp. I'm not suggesting that.
Man, he listen. He's gonna, chip block, maybe hit a couple of ends or pass protect, but he's gonna run the same route. He runs up about to the sticks, to the first down marker, over the ball, and turns around and boxes you out. That's all he's gonna do.
I get that. So then why retire in the first place?
Because he just maybe was annoyed. It was like, hey,
with the franchise.
I'm sure. Yeah, maybe he was annoyed with what was going on. It was like, man, I'm 15 years, and I don't see us going anywhere.
Okay, so now a year later, you get
Amari Cooper. You get Amari Cooper. I'm sure these things just don't randomly happen. I'm sure while he was playing and he was not feeling it, there was some dialogue with networks. I'm sure while he was on the network, there was tons of dialogue with the Cowboys. So that
doesn't make me feel good. That's 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Oh, it's TV and football. It's not a big deal.
This is what I consider...
Especially for someone who's getting lit up every Monday night.
Well, I guess this is the thing. And I'll go back to it. It's a plum position. It's a plum opportunity. I would hope that before ESPN hired him...
What, they give him $5 million for that?
I didn't look at the number. It's all,
It was like $5 million. You know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
It reminds me of when Brett Favre came back for that last season in Minnesota.
Yeah.
When they were like, dude, like, just get out of here.
Yeah.
And they said, why did you come back? He said, because they paid me like $20 million. That's why I came back.
It reminds me of Freddie Mercury when he left Queen. Why did you go do the solo thing for 2 years, the 2 solo records? Because CBS Records was giving him $4 million.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see that movie?
No.
Of all of the Oscar-winning movies, which ones have you seen?
None.
What? Is this a protest on your part?
No.
You didn't see Black Panther?
I saw Black Panther at my house, and it just wasn't the same for me.
A Star is Born? You didn't see A Star is Born?
I didn't see A Star is Born. My mother-in-law is obsessed with that movie, and I think she even bought the music sheets to that, and she's playing her guitar.
Oh, wow.
She's actually a musician herself. She sang, toured, and all that stuff. So she is. It's not like she got up and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna teach myself how to play these songs." She is a wonderful singer and performer.
So is this just the impact of having young kids that you haven't seen any of these movies? Because I went through that.
I was never a real movie buff like that.
Okay.
Never.
Favorite movie of all time?
Oh yeah, I don't know, dude.
Most.
My favorite comedy is Life with Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy. I like I don't know. I like the Jason Bourne series. That's kind of like my speed.
Okay.
I like Glory, the one with Denzel Washington, Matthew Broderick. I like that stuff. I'm all over the place. I like Shawshank. I like Schindler's List.
Shawshank's good. Schindler's List, very good. You're hitting some classics.
Yeah, I like Inglourious Basterds.
You know what it is? I went for the longest time where we just did not see movies, and we've remodeled the house, and so we have some Prime. We have Apple TV. We have everything kind of lined up. So now, and my kids are at an age where they want to catch these, and so I've seen A Star is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody probably like in the last 4 or 5 days. That is a treasure trove of movie watching for me. I can't tell you the last time I saw that many in that short of period.
Yeah, I bet. Last movie I saw was Aquaman. The kids want to see that, and my wife. So, if my wife really wants to see a movie, then I'll make it happen. I let her lead on that.
Fair enough. All right.
No, really quick on the Witten thing too, because Steve Smith was like, hey, I think they asked him if he's going to leave. He goes, no, I'm going to stay because I'm actually pretty good on TV.
Yes.
Now, probably that was a shot, but it's interesting. Like, call a game first.
Yeah.
You got to call. It's different. It's different to be on Good Morning Football and just talk ball with your buddies. It's different to be
100%.
at the combine and just freestyle and have fun. It's different. And then it's to get in that booth, to watch film on these teams all week, and then to go interview these coaches, and then to sit there and be on the fly. When the play runs, you get the replay. Hey, Will, talk about this replay really quick.
Yep.
You gotta diagnose and see the coverage really quick and do all these things and be right without being redundant, without saying the same key phrases.
Mm-hmm.
Poise in the pocket, going through his progression. Without being catchphrases like that.
Yep.
So I hear what he's saying because people are like, oh, Jason Witten, that's hard, man. That's hard to just get thrown in. Yeah, he took it. So that's his fault. But I hear Steve. He just, I like Steve. I think he is entertaining, but he just got to be smart because until you go in that booth on live national television and call a game, I call a game for 11 Sports, and I didn't have all these cool gadgets and spotters. We had to do a real deal.
Yep. You're keeping your own stats. You got
my own stats, my own spot board.
Yep.
My own notes, and then you had to sit there and call a game. And I didn't know not one single player on UC Davis or Sacramento State. Okay, if I call an NFL game, I'm with it. I know every guy.
Sure. And your audience is with it. So
is with it.
There's a lot you don't have to explain. Like with the lesser ones, you almost have to explain why they should be interested in this particular guy or this particular play. The hardest job that I've ever had in TV, without question, was sideline reporting.
Right.
And sideline reporting, especially because, unlike the booth, I don't know necessarily when they're going to come to me. Or I might tell them I have something. I still don't know when they're going to come to me.
Right.
And then I'm standing on the court. This has actually happened to me. The first time I ever did sideline. So ESPN, when they first promoted me, I think Jim Gray was on his way out, or they were on the outs with him, or they had some contract dispute. I was not hired to be a sideline reporter. I did, TV and studio stuff, but I was still writing for the most part, reporting, etc. And they just decided to throw me into, hey, you want to try sideline reporting? I mean, I didn't know anything. I didn't know how the IFB thing. I kind of knew because we used it in the studio, but having the pack on my back and all of that, I didn't know that I had to bring my own anti-shine and makeup to my first game. And the first game I did, it was a playoff game with Milwaukee, and I think I burned the tape because it looked like I had a grease fire on my face just because I had no I had no anti-shine, I had nothing. And you don't have to be sweaty for you to look like literally.
No, you don't.
You're a reflective pond. So, but when you are, standing on a court and you know that they're getting ready to start behind you, or you're talking on the sideline and the action's going on behind you and you got the crowd all around you, when you do that and you can function there and just focus on the camera and get your concise 45 seconds to a minute at the most statement, comment, observation, whatever in there. When you do studio, when you do almost anything else, it's like, oh, this is a walk in the park.
Oh, right. You kidding me?
There are no, I know what the rundown is. There's nobody shouting at me. There's no action around me. There's nothing.
Don't think, like I said, when there's live bullets, man, on national TV, it is a different ball. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. So to be there comfortable.
Yep.
And talk. That's easy. I know people are saying radio's tough because you have to have personality in your voice. They can't see you. I said radio is a knock on the board. I can do whatever radio. I can do a cartwheel in the studio.
Yeah.
I love radio.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry what you look like or how you're dressed or
right.
I love radio, and and podcasting is somewhat similar in that you have to be conscious of your energy and phrasing, and like you said, you can't repeat things and fall into sort of habits using the same words over and over again or phrases, etc. But it doesn't compare. All right, that does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast network. And look, if you enjoy the show, please drop us a rating and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. It is as simple as you just click on how many stars you want to give us. And we don't really care how many stars you want to give us. We hope it's 5, but if it's not, that's okay. Now, here's the bonus. That's what you're doing for us. If you screenshot that review and tweet it to @BucherFriends, then you'll be eligible to win some prizes. All right, the Combine will continue, and we have a few NBA subjects to get into. I need to get from Will. LeBron James is in playoff activated mode. They have not won since. We've discussed this before. We're going to discuss it again. I'm just wondering whether Will's ever experienced a player or a teammate who talked big about, now we're going to turn it on, and then it never really happened. We'll get Will's experience on that. That will be in our next podcast. In the meantime, thanks for listening.